Hey guys, this is a spoiler warning. Be warned, there will be a lot of spoilers for this film, especially about Passages. I've been warned. Hey guys, welcome back to another week of Ticket Tuesday. I'm your host, Ron Time HD. So yeah, this is going to be a great time. Hey guys, welcome back to an episode of Ticket Tuesday. I'm your host, Time HD, and this week we watched It Lives Inside, a new Hindi horror film, which obviously has, like Hindi horror elements. That's really, really interesting. I like this movie, and I just think that I really like the idea. I really like the mythology, the aspects of it, and it really makes me want to research the topic that it's talking about, which is a good thing because it really makes me want to learn. But about the movie was pretty good. I enjoyed it, and I thought the tension was great. I thought it really, the horror itself, the build-up with the creature itself, amazing. And before I go on a little tangent about why I like this film, I'll tell you why I like this film and more back at the house.
What do we do? We must make an offering. Om Dio Shanti. Om Dio Shanti. Om Dio Shanti. Om Dio Shanti.
Hey guys, welcome back to an episode of Ticket Tuesday. I'm Restaurant Team HD, and this week we watched It Lives Inside, a Hindu horror film, starring the Passages. Yes, if you do not know what a Passages is, I don't blame you. Well, if you're not Indian, that is. Even if you are, I'm not sure if you know it. But anyway, a Passages is basically a flesh eater, an evil spirit, a demon, whatever the hell you want to call it. It is a really cool piece of Hindu mythology, and it is basically this tormentor, it eats souls and all that shit. And basically, in this film, the main villain is the titular Passages. It is not titular, the Passages. Basically, is Passages, evil, bad, big bad Passages. But yeah. Basically, so the story of this film is there is a girl. There's a girl, and she's Indian. And her family, they moved from India to America. They're not that happy in America, but she also has another friend who's also Indian, who she was friends with since childhood, but before the movie began, she's been acting strange. She has this jar which has the Passages in it, and you know what that means? It's Passages in a jar. And if Passages is in a jar, a Passages can be considered an evil spirit, but a Passages can also be considered a demon. And you know what that means? If a Passages is in a jar, and a Passages can be considered a demon, that means it can be considered a demon in a jar. That one's for you, Janice. You owe me a fucking demon in a jar. I want that bad. But basically, she's carrying around this jar, and she's acting really paranoid, really weird. She's like tapping the jar all up, and she's putting meat in the jar, and to keep the Passages at bay, you have to feed it meat, raw meat. You can't give it cooked meat. It needs to be raw. It just prefers it that way, I suppose. But basically, this is the starting point, and then after that, the main character confronts her former friend about it. The friend rambles, and she's sounds crazy, and then she slaps the jar out of her hand, and the Passages escapes and starts to. It captures the friend, doesn't kill her, but captures her. And she's got 7 days. 7 days until 7 days of torment until on the final day. The 7th day, her soul will be eaten, and she will be consumed by the Passages. And the main character does not want that to happen, so the whole film is her basically trying to stop the Passages. At first, it's her avoiding and running from the Passages, but near the end, it's her trying to be as brave as she can in the face of basically pure evil, and fear, and basically overcoming the odds and, overcoming evil and containing it. However, she contains it within herself and becomes a vessel, which, by the way, I didn't explain yet. A vessel is basically something that you need to contain the Passages in, like the jar from earlier, or perhaps a human, something that can contain it, like a jar, anything that closes, right? It couldn't be just like a stick, because there's nothing to close it in, right? An example. But, you gotta like those sticks, man. But, basically, by the end of the film, she ends up becoming the vessel for the Passages so that she can contain it and prevent it from doing evil Passages things. But having a demon in your brain, or in your whole body, is probably not the best for your mental health, and will probably fuck you up, which by the end of the film it does insinuate that she's not in the best place, because, you know, she's hearing things, because demon, and, you know, not in the best place, which is self-explanatory. But yeah, that's basically the film. It's pretty simple, not too complex, but that is to the film's aid. The film does not need a super complex story, because the story services what it's meant to do. The film, I feel, is supposed to be kind of maybe a bit of a lesson on some of the culture, I feel like, a little bit. And it's also supposed to be teaching you a bit about the mythology, like, subtly as the film goes on. I think that's a pretty cool idea of, like, teaching you about these things and these, like, the stories, some of them. But also, it's trying to spook you. You know, obviously, being a horror film, it's got to scare you. You know, so, and what did I think of the spooks? What did I think of the scaries? Well, I think it was very well done. I think it built up tension, dread, and horror, you know, which I think a horror film should do. Those three things are are integral, in my opinion, to having a scary horror film. So now, getting my favorite part of the film, my opinion, the best executed part of the film. I talked about the story, I've talked about all that, but what truly makes a horror film, what makes it horrific, what makes it scary, is not jump scares, it's not a shit ton of blood, it is, in my opinion, dread, tension, and horror, and this film does that in strides. I think, especially with the Passages itself, is in my opinion, executed perfectly. I think that the build-up, and I always say this, whenever maybe not even reviewing, whenever I watch a monster flick, I'm like, they're showing too much of him. You're taking away the horror of it. You're showing too much of the monster. You know, the horror of it, and the brilliance of some of the best monster flicks is that they don't show the monster that much, right? They let your mind fill in the blanks, and what your mind fills in for those blanks are probably scarier than what it actually is, because your mind is scared, right? It helps. So, this film does that brilliantly. We don't see him till the very, very end of the film, and that is amazing. They only show outlines of him, and at the very beginning of the movie, you can barely even make him out. He is a light shadow. He's a light silhouette. He's invisible. He's completely invisible to light. Can't see shit, right? Can't see him at all. You can just hear him. You can hear whispering. You can see his eyes in a closet, and it's done beautifully. And as the film goes on, you start to see a bit more of his outline, but not too much to where it spoils the magic. It is perfectly done, in my opinion. It's very well executed to where it adds the mystery of, what is this thing? What does it look like? Who is this thing? Not who, but what is this thing? What does it do? Why is it here? What does it look like? It builds up that dread, that mystery, until the very end of the film where they finally reveal it, and I think they reveal it really well. And even when they reveal it, you don't see it till, like, a couple minutes later, right? Until you see his full body, his face, his everything, right? Even when he's standing right in front of the main character, he's obstructed by shadows. You can see the reflection of his eye. You can see, like, his bony spine, but you can barely see him. You can see the little dots in his eyes. And I think that's really well done. And honestly, I think the build-up is really well executed, and it is a satisfying, really gratifying to finally see the monster. And how does he look? Well, I'm happy to say he looks fucking great, spectacular. Probably one of my favorite modern horror movie monster designs in a while. I think he looks fucking great. And when he popped up on the screen, I'm not even being hyperbolic here. When I say I pointed at the screen, I'm like, oh, that's so fucking cool. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's just so good. Like, one, it's practical. Automatic win right there already. Practical suit, guy in a suit, puppet, already great. And not only that, like, it doesn't look cheap. Like, it looks great. Like, the monster itself looks very, very high quality. And to be honest, the guy in the suit, I feel like he was, like, in the role. Like, he moved like a weird, distorted demon. Like, whenever he was weak and he would, like, snap, like, I feel like he was a contortionist, almost. Like, he would, like, dislocate his shoulder when he would, like, recoil back, and he would, like, move really quickly and jittery. And he was, like, very disturbing with his movements. It was very, very disturbing to watch, but you couldn't take your eyes off the screen because of how surreal he looked. Because the Pasages truly is amazing. He is, like, he looks evil, right? Like, you can tell that this thing means no good by just looking at it. This thing is evil, and it looks like it eats souls, you know what I mean? Like, it's got that soul eater vibe to it, right? Like, I mean, it's got faces, like, on its body, like, of, like, previous poor, like, damned souls on him, and, like, it does, like, it's, like, it kind of clicks like Predator, kind of. Like, it, like, clicks, and it makes weird animalistic noises. Like, and also, one of my favorite bits is when, like, near the ending fight, where the girl looks hopeless, you can hear him laugh at her. It's great. Like, honestly, the Pasages is just, like, a really, really cool character. And honestly, I'd want a sequel solely because I think the design is so good, I don't think they should just use it on one film. I think it'd be a waste to have this such a good design be only used for one movie. Make a bunch of other movies. Don't even have it be the same Pasages. Maybe, like, redesign him to look different, but, you know, still look just as good. You know, maybe have different tales of Pasages, you know, tormenting other people. I mean, it's probably not that hard to come up with, right? So just have more Pasages stuff. He's so cool. Please use him more. He looks so fucking good. I love this design. He's so cool. And even though at the end he is defeated, he's still not dead. He is still a lingering threat. So even if you don't want to create a new cast of characters, you could say maybe eventually she succumbs to it, or he gets out somehow, and, you know, they have to get him back. Right? They could do that. Or, I don't know. Just, as I'm saying, the design is just too good to go to waste. It's so, so good. So, talking about that, would I recommend this film? Yeah, I'd recommend this film. If you're a fan of horror, thrillers, spooky films, if you're a fan of that, definitely recommend it. If you're looking for, like a gore fest, tons of kills, tons of blood, you're not going to get that here. Yeah, I'm just going to be straight on flabby. There's, like, one on-screen kill. While it is great and ferocious, it is not super bloody, it's not super gory, it's kind of just the violent thrashing. It's violent in its own way, right? Not by blood or gore, but just violent because it's violent, right? And that's, yeah, just not a gore fest. If you're looking for that, you might want to look elsewhere. But if you're looking to be spooked, if you're looking to have a good time, get a lot of tension, be thrilled, definitely recommend this film. And I would rate this film a 7.5 out of 10. And yeah, I think I've said all I need to say. I think I've said my piece. So guys, if you like this video, share your friends, subscribe, turn those notifications on, comment down below how much you liked it. But you guys know how it goes. I didn't really mean to say that. What I really meant to say was if you guys hated this video, unsubscribe, dislike, tell me Cheney in the comments. And I've been Runtime HD. Off to eat some souls. You know, like, I would say something, but I don't know what to say, because usually in these little sequences I do here, what I do is I say something witty about the film or about the topic of the film, but I am not in a place to say anything witty because I don't know anything much about the film, or like the thing it's talking about. So I can't make a witty comment, but what I can do is that you should watch it which you probably already gathered. But hey.